How's it going? I just got done reading this long article that my mother sent me on the Sandy Hook shooting, and I got a lot of thoughts about it. So it's really about the parents of this child, Noah, that got killed in the shooting. He's one of the kids that died, that was murdered. And most of the article's about how one of the parents has spent most of his time or much time since that shooting trying to debunk all the false information that's come out. A lot of the article talks about how ever since that shooting, a lot of people have found and formed like false sources online to spread false information about what happened. It talks about how soon, not long after, people started to repeat this nonsense about how it was a false flag or whatever the term is, about how the parents are crisis actors and that the whole shooting was staged. And then a lot of the people that push this nonsense, they make it out to be like the whole thing is used or was faked to try to take people's gun rights away or whatever. So it's hard to put my thoughts into words about this whole thing because it's just almost like, to me, what seems not real is that people could even believe those sorts of things. How could you live in this world and think that the parents of 20 children would all get together and, or you know what I mean, or just the whole thing would be fake? On so many levels, it just seems absurd and ridiculous. How could, even if you were to try to entertain that, which I don't even really want to get too deep into trying to entertain it, but just on a logical level, you have a town full of people. A lot of the people know each other. Their kids all go to school together. You know what I mean? Like, how would you even pull something like that off? Like, how would you even... People know each other that know each other. They live in the same... It just doesn't make any sense. Beyond that, beyond the absurdity of that, and, I apologize for even putting any real thought into that, but people seem to have been putting a lot of thought into it and coming across with wrong conclusions. How could you have the audacity to go around repeating that children were never real that got murdered? And then when you find evidence, any evidence you find, the parents release the death certificates, they're showing their photos of their kids, they're outraged that you're harassing them because you think that you have found some sort of truth that is important to you and you just can't hear reason. How can not even just one person, but how can so many people buy into that and just repeat it and repeat it? You don't think of the harm you're doing? You don't think of kids, they lived and then they died and then their parents will never be the same. And now I'm over here, not just having a thought experiment, I'm going full force. I know it's right. I know it's true. It just doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know where all this comes from, but I'm finding it disturbing. I mean, maybe I shouldn't tie too much into this, but it's just, to me, it's so hard to have rational discussions with a lot of people these days. It's like they somehow feel like they know what's true without acknowledging any credible evidence and just finding things online and putting them up as evidence. It doesn't make any sense. So you go from one conspiracy to the next. It's things about 9/11. It's things about the vaccine. It's things about Obama's not born in this country. It's things about the election was fake. And there's all this other stuff. And it's just like the Pizzagate thing. Oh, some guy goes and it's Democrats or pedophiles and they're holding people in a basement and now I got to go and Like, people are just losing their minds with this stuff. So anybody that can hear reason, anybody that can actually have a thought in their mind that, like, man, this stuff is out of control, and if people take it too far, people are doing irrational things based off of it. I think we got to start repeating it more. We got to, because I'm sitting here reading this stuff, and it's like, no, this is crazy. This is not, bad things can happen as a result of people believing this. I mean, if it was just one person here and there, okay, but even one person, it was just the Pizzagate thing, you know what I mean? But it takes a lot of people to get worked up into this whole frenzy and be perpetuating this. And it's gotten to this point where now a good portion of the country isn't talking about what we can do to improve the country, what we can do, what policies we can pass to, impact the majority of our lives in a better way. We're just engaging in this sort of fear-based, like, conspiracy nonsense and just perpetuating it. So I feel like it's really harmful. And I mean, anybody that wants to talk about it in a rational way and just acknowledge what the official reports are on a lot of these things, what's, what is true, what's rational. I think we just need to talk about that more. And then we should also be talking about what harm repeating things like this can have. When we're just engaging in this sorts of things, it affects the people involved directly. The parents of the kids in Sandy Hook are getting harassed for years. They don't deserve that. They've already lived through an enormous tragedy. And then people are just getting their minds distorted, just living in this other reality that is not reality on a daily basis, and it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. So I just want to encourage people to talk about what's real more, because the people that are out there repeating these lies are just way more vocal than the people that are just thinking about these sorts of things rationally. So that's all.